In 1989, Penn State concluded the most successful decade in school history. A decade that saw 2 national championships and 6 bowl triumphs among a multitude of accomplishments. During this final season of the 80s, the Lions continued to exemplify the pride and determination that took them to the top of college football. Young and inexperienced at many positions, they visited some very difficult surroundings in 1989 and came away victorious. They dominated their Eastern competition and finished with an emotional win over their arch rivals from Western Pennsylvania. And with the decade quickly disappearing, they triumphed in one of the wildest bowl games in school history. They played Nittany Lion football and turned it into another successful season. At Penn State, the winning continues.
Good, okay,
As Penn State opened its 103rd football season, 2 questions were on everyone's mind. First, could senior Blair Thomas regain his All-America form of 1987 following knee surgery? Against Virginia, that answer came swiftly, as number 32 averaged over 6 yards a carry and gained 128 all-purpose yards. Blair was back. The second question, how would a handful of position changes affect the cohesion of this young team? After a struggle in their opener with the Cavaliers, the Lions knew their inexperienced players would need some seasoning before hitting the heart of their 1989 schedule. The next 5 games gave Penn State a chance to regroup, to overcome their growing pains, and they seized upon the opportunity with all the confidence of a team that knew how to win. It took them just 18 seconds against Temple to initiate their comeback.
They look long. Daniels is open down the near side. He's got it at midfield. He's still on his feet at the 40, the 35, the 30. He's got a chance to go all the way. 15, 10, 5, and touchdown Penn State on the first play of the game. They strike 76 yards. What a way for Daniels to celebrate his 20th birthday.
5 big plays, each covering more than 30 yards, reaffirmed the roar of the Lion offense. Wideouts Terry Smith, O.J. McDuffie, and David Daniels played catch in the Temple secondary. And Blair Thomas continued his resurgence.
I thought I was going to go all the way, and the defensive back turned his hips. That's why I turned back, and I thought I was going on that one, but then somebody caught me from behind. So it was a couple plays when I thought I was going all the way.
Sophomore running back Jerry Collins helped Penn State steer its ship back on course with a punishing 42-3 triumph over Temple. A week later against Boston College, Penn State did not give up a touchdown for the second consecutive game. Led by Brian Chismar's 18 tackles, the Lions' defense controlled the tempo of this low-scoring contest. In the final moments of a tight struggle, Hernan Henderson's interception provided the spark that would ignite a victory. The offense responded with the winning touchdown, highlighted by a do-or-die 4th down scramble from quarterback Tony Sacca.
Daniels right, Smith left, Sacca straight back, Thomas out in the pass pattern, fakes to him, rolls away from one man, looks downfield, now he's going to run it. On his feet at the 15, inside the 15, dances out, knocked down at the 8-yard line, first down Penn State. Thomas right side, inside the 5 to the 4-yard line. This is it for Penn State this afternoon. Less than a yard to go.
Run it!
Roll out. He's going to go into the end zone and score. They fake to Thomas, and Sacca rolls out around the right side and into the end zone for the touchdown.
Fourth quarter, pounded out football. The kind of win Joe Paterno knows is important to a young, maturing team.
They're a good defensive football team. I said that from day one, and but I was pleased we sucked it up and made it happen at the end.
Penn State fans visited the great Southwest as the Lions faced their first road test of 1989 in one of college football's perennial hotbeds. Memorial Stadium, Austin, Texas, home of the Texas Longhorns. But the Lions paid little attention to Texas tradition and marched 80 yards on their second possession. The drive culminated with a Saka to Daniels touchdown. Lion defense controlled the game as a series of thunder hits drained the life out of the Texas offense. The ringleader of this ambush in Austin was number 28, Brian Chismar, with a dozen stops and a drive-killing interception. Nine times the Longhorns were roped and tied in their own backfield as linebacker Reginald Gibbons and tackle Frank Giannetti helped dominate the line of scrimmage. Linebacker Mark D'Onofrio put his brand on a Texan, while Andre Collins blocked a punt that led to the winning touchdown. When Leonard Humphreys took it in for the score, the blue and white savored a 16-12 Texas triumph for their third straight win of this young season. At Giants Stadium, under the skyline of New York City, Rutgers proved a gracious host for victory number 4. A game that demonstrated without a doubt the Lions were back on the prowl. Two touchdowns and a field goal for Penn State. Absolutely nothing for Rutgers. And the Lions headed for upstate New York for a long-awaited rematch with the Syracuse Orange. Armed with a 4-game win streak, Penn State invaded the home of an old rival and brought some 5,000 wild and friendly fans along to capture the moment. And each Penn Stater shared a resolve to quickly establish their role as Beast of the East.
Penn State moving again. It's Thomas with it on the left side. He's still on his feet. Down the sideline he goes. He can break it all the way. Blair Thomas will score for Penn State.
He just took a pitch. Dave's out, pulled on that, and he kicked out the corner. Leroy Thompson had an excellent block, and I got a good block downfield about the wide out, and then the only thing I had to do was run the ball. You know, it was there that everybody did a great job on that play.
Here comes the reverse again. McDuffie turns it up. He's got a first down at the 50, 45, down the near sideline, 40, 35. The foot race is on. They've got the angle, and out of bounds he goes.
A first-half touchdown and field goal simply set the stage for a Penn State masterpiece. Part of that roadmap to victory was a defensive scheme that took away the Orange ground attack and helped. Forcing 5 vital turnovers, Penn State's top-ranked scoring defense simply squeezed and crushed the Orange. The offensive line of Tim Freeman, Ed Monahan, Roger Duffy, Dave Zott, and Matt McCartan blasted holes for Blair Thomas and Jerry Collins to both gain over 100 yards. Penn State pounded Syracuse for a stunning 356 yards on the ground. When the home team loaded up to stop the run, the Lions hit them with the pass. And Saka's rollout toss to Dave Jacob fooled just about everyone wearing orange. The offense, the defense, and the special teams all contributed to this important step toward gaining Eastern supremacy.
It is a return and a beautiful high kick. McDuffie drifting back, feels it at the 16. Straight ahead, spinning toward the 25, gets away at the 30. Outside at the 35, the 40. He's got one man to beat, and he does. 45, 40, he's going to go all the way. McDuffie has broken it for a touchdown, and Penn State scores. McDonald out of his own end zone, throwing for more. It's intercepted. Picked off by Sherrod Range at the 30, the 25, dancing down the near sideline. Jarek straight ahead into the end zone, touchdown.
And when it was all over, the dome looked and sounded like Beaver Stadium with a roof. The Lions and their faithful fans had traveled to Syracuse on a quest, and now parted with the sweet taste of a 34-12 triumph. The win was a confidence builder for this squad. A victory for a group of young men who had responded to a challenge and could now share the thrill and satisfaction of a mission accomplished. Celebrated their 20th triumph over Syracuse in Joe Paterno's 24 years as head coach, and now enjoyed a 5-game win streak. The third largest crowd ever at Penn State and a national television audience watched a classic battle between a pair of top 20 teams. Alabama and Penn State, two tradition-rich programs, sparred evenly for most of a titanic defensive struggle. When the Lions rolled back the tide from the 1 on the final play of the first half, momentum seemed to favor the blue and white. A pair of field goals and a spectacular end zone catch by O.J. McDuffie handed Penn State the advantage after 3 quarters. But this Alabama touchdown run in the final period put the Lions under the gun. With the Tide up by 1 point, Rich Schoenwolf's interception opened the door to optimism. Blair Thomas, calling on every ounce of energy, hammered out 58 tough inside yards, running the ball 11 straight times. His final burst carried to the 1, where a game-winning field goal was shockingly blocked, adding frustration to the finish of a great game played by 2 outstanding teams.
Just kept us off balance, and that was just it. They kept us off balance, but we went out, we played hard, and this team has nothing to be down about. We're going to come back next week.
And did they ever come back with fire in their eyes the next week? If West Virginia was the target, number 9 was the bullseye. And this aggressive Penn State defense did not back down against a major challenge.
defense played great, particularly in that just before the half. I had 3-4 shots in there, and our kids just hung in there so tough until the offense could get some momentum going. And I thought that was one of the greatest defensive periods of play that we've had here that I can remember.
Senior linebacker Andre Collins blocked an extra point, caused 2 fumbles, and added 15 tackles to his day's work. While the defense pressured the visitors into a mistake-filled game, Ray Tarasi played the hero's role with 4 field goals. The Lions added a touchdown when Tony Sacca scattered the defense with a scramble and then found Dave Jacob. The 5th game in a row, Sacca has thrown for at least 1 touchdown. Blair Thomas rumbled through the Mountaineers' defense for 150 yards. And Tarasi's 4th and final field goal clinched the triumph. The 19-9 win was Penn State's 18th consecutive home victory over West Virginia. At historic Memorial Stadium in Baltimore, Blair Thomas joined Kurt Warner and D.J. Dozier as the only Penn State backs to rush for more than 3,000 career yards. The Lions continually pounded on Maryland's door and came away with a pair of field goals and a Leroy Thompson touchdown. Fate did not smile on Penn State this day against a Maryland team more than happy to accept a tie. Joe Paterno never wavered in an all-out search for victory, but had to settle for a disappointing 13-13 deadlock. More than 86,000 fans jammed Beaver Stadium for the nationally televised battle with top-ranked Notre Dame. The Lions gained more yards against the Irish than any other team Notre Dame played in 1989. With 133 yards, Blair Thomas became the only back in 2 years to rush for more than 100 yards against the Irish defense. 339 total yards, 3 touchdowns, 23 points. All were not enough as the Lions' staunch effort fell just short against the Fighting Irish of Notre Dame. One of college football's oldest and most traditional rivalries is Penn State and Pittsburgh. A victory in this cross-state battle would ensure a clean sweep of all Penn State's Eastern opponents in 1989 and would bring the coveted Lambert Trophy to University Park for an unprecedented 19th time. On their first possession, the blue and white journeyed 76 yards through stunned Panthers, with Tony Sacca's peg to David Daniels the payoff. What followed was one of the most unusual plays of the season. State's opportunistic defense stole the ball as Sherrod Range, number 36, ripped it from Pitt's Kervin Richards. Reginald Gibbons, number 58, grabbed the pigskin and rambled for 19 yards. The nifty thievery set up a Ray Tarasi field goal in a defensive struggle that would put a premium on points. In the dying seconds of the first half, the Lions energized their offense on the strength of a solid ground attack and the passing of quarterback Tom Bill. As the half ended, Tarasi's field goal sailed just inside the goalpost for 3 more important points. Throughout the afternoon, the defense would not be denied. Whether it was Hernan Henderson saving a touchdown or Andre Collins making one of his career-high 16 tackles. After 58 minutes of rugged, no-holds-barred football, Pitt and Penn State were tied at 13. But the Lions owned the ball.
The Panthers want the ball back. There's still 2:04 to go. Bill turns, fires. Daniels has it. Midfield at the 45, inside the 45, almost lost the ball. He's down to the 42-yard line. That's enough for a Penn State first down. Straight back is Bill. Feels some pressure. Screen pass. He's got it. Thompson 40, 35, 30. A first down at the 25, the 20. He's inside the 20, still on his feet. Dives forward to the 14-yard line. First down, Lions with 1:16 to go in the game.
With time running out, the Lions positioned themselves for an emotional triumph over their longtime rivals. The outcome and a bowl bid would ride on the right foot of Pittsburgh native Ray Tarasi. Putting all thoughts of the Alabama disappointment out of his mind, this Penn State senior stood in the eye of the hurricane. 17 seconds remained. His father watched. Victory stood 20 yards away.
They're getting set. Snap is good. The kick is up, and the kick is good. And Penn State, with 13 seconds left, leads it 16-13.
In dramatic fashion, Ray Tarasi had answered the challenge. With a 16-13 triumph over Pitt, Penn State reigned as champions of the East.
We wanted to reestablish, our power and our dominance in the East, and I think we did it. We've beaten everyone in the East: Pitt, Syracuse, West Virginia, Rutgers, Temple. We've beaten everyone.
Couldn't hope for a happier time. I came home, I had a lot of people here, and we brought home a victory, and it's a good ending. Now we got just one more chapter to go.
Coach, it's been about 16 years since Penn State has appeared on the West Coast. And we have been praying since about 10 years back that one of these days things would be right for us to extend an invitation to a great Penn State football team. So it's my very, very great honor to congratulate you on the game today, first of all, Coach Paterno, and secondly, to extend you an invitation to bring your club out and be our host team on December 29th in San Diego.
Penn State continued its tradition of classic postseason games as thousands of Lion fans traveled across the United States for the 1989 Holiday Bowl in San Diego. Their first meeting ever with Brigham Young would prove to be one of the wildest bowl games in Penn State history and the highest scoring contest of the bowl season. All-American Blair Thomas, at his best in big games, pounded the Cougars' defense for 186 yards. Fullback Leroy Thompson bowled over Cougar tacklers and exploded with the second two-touchdown game of his career. Tony Sacca showed his strong arm, and David Daniels made one of the great catches in Penn State football history. But this journey into the unexpected was finally decided by two unusual defensive plays. Following a BYU touchdown, Andre Collins intercepted a two-point conversion attempt and returned it an astounding 102 yards. Then the play that finally settled the issue. Gary Brown stole the ball from quarterback Ty Detmer and scored the clinching touchdown. Penn State's 50 points were the most they had ever scored in a bowl game, and the Lions wrapped up their 12th postseason triumph of the past 20 years. A primary reason for the accomplishments of this squad was a group of exceptional seniors who brought both talent and leadership to the program. On defense, Rich Schoenwolf led all linemen in tackles. Sherrod Range overcame an early season injury to lead the squad in interceptions. Co-captain Brian Chismar switched from the secondary to linebacker, and recorded more than 100 tackles. Chismar paired with All-American Andre Collins to form a two-man SWAT team at inside linebacker. Collins came to Lion Country as a safety, switched to linebacker, and finished as the first Penn State player in 15 years to have consecutive 100-tackle seasons. Collins finished third in the Butkus voting as Linebacker of the Year. On special teams, no one has blocked more punts in either a season or a career. Andre Collins was the heart and soul of the Lion defense, and according to Joe Paterno, as good as any linebacker ever at Penn State. Other seniors include place kicker Ray Tarazzi, who established a Lion record for field goal accuracy. In the offensive line, seniors Tim Freeman, Ed Monahan, Dave Zott, and Roger Duffy cleared a path for Lion runners. According to Joe Paterno, Duffy, who started 31 consecutive games, was the finest center ever to play at Penn State. Tight end Dave Jacob caught a pair of touchdown passes in his second year as a starter. And senior Blair Thomas put his name among the all-time great runners ever at Penn State. Fighting back after reconstructive knee surgery, Thomas showed how courage and determination could result in an All-American season.
I think if you keep a positive attitude and keep your mind set on what you want to do, you can do it.
Blair Thomas finished behind only Kurt Warner as the second-best career rusher in Penn State history. His 8 100-yard games tied the Lion career record, and he finished with his second 1,000-yard season. There was no finer runner in all of college football in 1989 than Blair Thomas. The skills and dedication of these seniors will help set the tone for a new decade of Penn State excellence. The Lions enter the 90s as a member-elect of the prestigious Big Ten Conference.
I'm pleased to say that Penn State is accepting the invitation to join the Big Ten with the enthusiastic support of its faculty leadership, the appropriate faculty committees, its deans, its athletic director, and its trustees.
An historic partnership with the Big Ten is a fitting climax to the Lions' most successful decade ever. With 2 national championships, 6 bowl victories, and 5 top 10 finishes, they treated prosperity with class and character. At Penn State, the winning continues.